touch the floor, and you know what I'm talking about here on my channel right now.
It all starts in that strange Hollywood silence where everybody pretends things are normal even when the air feels heavy and weird and fake. And Blake Lively standing right in the middle of it with that smile she puts on like armor, acting like nothing bothers her even though everything around her feels cracked, twisted, full of whispers and tension, and Ryan Reynolds doing that same old half-cool, half-distant routine like he wants people to think he's above the drama, but in reality he is knee deep inside it, just too scared to admit the whole picture is falling apart. And then you have this ridiculous PR stunt that suddenly pops up out of nowhere, like some rushed attempt to cover a leaking hole, titled something like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds going on a secret escape, and anyone with 2 decent brain cells could see this wasn't a getaway from stress or from cameras but a desperate attempt to shove the whole legal mess under the rug and hope people get distracted by fake smiles and perfectly staged photos. Because this industry survives on illusions, they serve illusions like breakfast, sell them like charity, and they think the public is dumb enough to buy anything. But this time the cracks were too loud, too obvious, too embarrassing to hide. Everything started slipping ever since Blake got herself tangled in that big noisy legal mess. That whole situation where her polished image took a hit, where people were finally seeing how she plays the narrative from behind the curtains, how she twists things to make herself look innocent and glowing even when the truth is sitting right there, refusing to be ignored, especially because Glossy came in as that one person who didn't bend, didn't shrink, didn't let their narrative crush him. He showed that small sliver of truth that made Blake's entire PR machine panic like they had just seen their own glass castle shake. And instead of addressing anything like grown-ups, they tried to pull the most cliché Hollywood distraction ever, a romantic escape. They packaged it like a fairy tale, but the timing was so ridiculous, so painfully obvious, that even the softest gullible fan could tell this wasn't love or healing or privacy. This was cleanup mode, panic mode, emergency PR mode. The funniest part was that the pictures didn't even look real. Nothing about them had life in it. It was like they were both holding up masks, stiff smiles, dead eyes, energy flat like cardboard. Ryan looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Blake looked like she had memorized the face she needed to make. They weren't even trying to hide the fact that they were trying too hard. It was like they forgot how to look natural. And people are not blind. People know what forced looks like. And as soon as these secret escape pictures hit the internet, instead of fans melting into gushy comments, the roast started immediately. Comments like, "Why does this look staged as hell? Is this a PR vacation or a hostage situation?" Every time Blake gets caught in drama, suddenly they escape somewhere. "Girl, we see you." The whole thing flipped against them in minutes, because the public wasn't falling for the usual sweet, soft tricks anymore. The legal drama had already shaken Blake's soft image. People weren't in that mood where they automatically defend her. They were already side-eyeing her statements, already confused by the contradictions, the switch in her story, the way her team kept silently pushing news pieces trying to clean up the mess. And the more they pushed, the worse it got, because every time Blake tried to paint herself as this gentle, harmless fairy tale woman, Glossy presence reminded people that the story had another side, a darker side, a side she didn't want shown. Hollywood hates truths like that. They hate when someone refuses to play along. They hate when a person like Glossy steps in and doesn't let the giant machine silence him. So what did Blake's team do? They tried to pretend Glossy didn't matter. They tried to erase him from the press altogether. They acted like he was some random, unimportant footnote, even though everybody knew he was the one holding the thread that could pull the whole curtain down. And while this erasing act was happening, the PR geniuses thought, let's just send them on a romantic escape and people will forget everything. But the timing was too obvious. It was the same week the courtroom gossip was heating up. The same week her inconsistencies went viral. The same week her fans themselves started questioning her choices. So what did her team do? They shoved out a secret escape headline so aggressively that the whole thing looked like a cheap ad. And don't forget the worst part. They called it magical. The article literally said Blake and Ryan were running away on a magical romantic escape to protect their love. And the public said, protect from what? The truth? The questions? The court? Glossy. The whole article was so tone-deaf, it turned into a meme instantly. People laughed. People mocked. People could smell the PR chemicals dripping from the words. Even the journalists writing it sounded like they were rolling their eyes while typing. Ryan's silence made things worse. Usually he's cracking jokes, tweeting sarcastic lines, playing that cool internet dad character he built. But suddenly, nothing. No jokes, no captions, no sarcastic posts, nothing. He looked tired. He looked done. He looked like even he didn't want to participate in the charade but had no choice because the brand needed saving. Blake appeared in 2 or 3 soft interviews around that same time, talking about reconnecting, recentering, focusing on our relationship, all these generic lines that sounded downloaded from Pinterest, not like something a real human under stress would say. Her voice didn't have weight. It didn't feel like her heart was in it. It was too rehearsed, too perfectly shaped, too fake, and the audience felt it. You can't hide that stuff. Even through screens you can feel when someone is forcing their words. Meanwhile, the one person they kept trying to shove out of the narrative, glossy, kept becoming more relevant because the more Blake tried to bury his existence, the more people asked, who is he? Why are they trying to hide him? It backfired completely. People started digging. People started reading. People started seeing what Blake didn't want them to see. It's always like that. When you try to silence something, it grows louder. And that's exactly what happened. Blake's team was pushing escapes, but people were searching Blake glossy case explained. That alone shows how badly the PR move failed. The funny part? Every escape PR article had the same structure. Start with a soft romantic angle, skip the entire middle where the drama existed, then end by painting Blake as this delicate, peaceful woman who just wants happiness. But anybody who actually looked at the timeline knew that wasn't the full picture. Blake had been controlling her public narrative for years. She knows how to shift stories. She knows how to appear perfect. But this time the cracks were too sharp. And that's the moment you understand how manipulated Hollywood is. These people don't fix problems. They bury them under expensive vacations and soft photo shoots. They don't address truth. They distract from truth. And when that fails, they rewrite the truth. Blake and Ryan's secret escape was exactly that, the rewrite stage. They wanted the public to forget the legal tension, the contradictions, the questions. They wanted the public to look at a couple holding hands in some random forest trail and think everything is perfect. But the energy wasn't perfect. The expressions weren't perfect. The vibe was dead. And the public felt that deadness. You can't fake warmth when there is none. You can't pretend closeness when the distance is loud. Hollywood can create illusions, but even illusions melt when the heat is too strong. A collapsing facade, a desperate PR move, a fake romantic escape nobody believes, and one man, glossy, whose presence they tried to erase but who ended up becoming the anchor of the whole truth. Not with some grand explosion or some loud dramatic twist, but with that slow, heavy, uneasy silence that starts creeping in when the PR illusion loses its shine. When the public stops buying the cute, happy couple story. When the comments turn sharper, jokes get harsher, and suddenly Blake and Ryan realize the romantic escape didn't escape anything. It only exposed how desperate the whole move was, and now they're standing in a weird limbo where they can't push the same narrative again because people already saw through it, but they also can't address the real situation because addressing it means opening the door to truth, and truth is something Blake's whole brand is allergic to. So after their secret escape flops, what happens? Everything around them gets even more tense, more shaky, more awkward. Blake starts giving these bizarre soft interviews where she tries to balance between acting unbothered and still secretly begging the public to forget everything. And her face has that strange calmness that isn't calm at all. It's that kind of calm someone makes when they're trying not to crumble, and Ryan stands behind her like a man who agreed to something and now regrets it but is stuck because leaving would make him look like the bad guy in her fairy tale. And the funniest part is that every single time Blake tries to shift the narrative by smiling or posting some aesthetic picture, it feels like she's lifting a dead weight, like she's dragging a heavy bag of her own contradictions. People keep bringing up the case. People keep bringing up the inconsistencies. People keep remembering how glossy stood there like a brick wall refusing to let her version dominate everything. And that alone keeps Blake's PR team awake at night. The tension between her and Ryan gets louder too. Not in screaming or dramatic fights, but in the quiet ways couples fall apart. Awkward pauses, fake laughs, mismatched energy. Ryan's eyes drifting away when she talks, Blake's face tightening when questions get too close to the truth. Hollywood couples don't break in the way normal couples break. They break in slow, rehearsed ways, with fake smiles on TV and cold silence in the car ride home. And that's exactly what starts crawling into their dynamic. The PR team tries to stitch together some new narrative, maybe push some family-focused angle, maybe release some random sources say they're stronger than ever nonsense. But nothing sticks because the public has already tasted the real mess, and once people taste truth, they don't go back to sugar. Meanwhile, Lashari, the one person they tried to push out of the story, ends up becoming a symbol of the entire thing. Like the anchor that holds the weight of everything Blake wants to hide. He becomes that quiet reminder that the story wasn't as clean as she wanted it to look. PR teams hate when someone like him exists. They hate when someone can't be bought, can't be shaped, can't be scripted. And the harder they try to erase him, the more people get suspicious. Online communities start talking about him nonstop, making threads, connecting dots, looking at timelines, pointing out patterns. Every time Blake posts something happy and glittery, someone comments, "What about Lashari though?" It becomes a meme at first, but then turns into a real crack in Blake's entire image. She can't outrun it no matter how far her escapes take her. Around this time, tabloids start getting messy too. Some start dropping subtle lines like, sources close to the couple say the atmosphere is tense. Friends say Ryan feels overwhelmed. Blake seems stressed about the legal fallout. You know those fake anonymous sources articles Hollywood loves. Half lies, half truth, half spin. But even those pieces can't hide the fact that something is genuinely wrong. Blake starts showing up at events with that tight fake laugh she uses when she's annoyed but pretending she's not. Ryan starts shrinking into the background more than usual, smiling less, avoiding eye contact with press. It's like they're both trapped in the story they created and neither knows how to walk out without destroying the whole image. Then the weird phase begins where Blake's team tries to rebuild her soft sweet image again by attaching her to charity things. Some children events, some environmental campaign, the usual Hollywood cleanse package. But even those moves feel hollow. People kept commenting things like, "Why does she keep running from the actual issue?" Or, "Girl, clear the mess before you plant trees." Every attempt to look good feels like a bandage on a wound she refuses to admit is infected. And then comes the part nobody expected. Ryan starts pulling away publicly. Not physically, but emotionally. He stops interacting with her posts. Stops making cheesy comments he always used to. Stops mentioning her in interviews. That's when the speculation gets insane. People start saying maybe he's tired of cleaning up after her scandals. Maybe he's tired of being part of her PR distraction games. Maybe he's tired of being the shield for her reputation. And honestly, he looked tired. Hollywood exhaustion is different. It's not about physical stress. It's about being mentally trapped inside an image you can't break without breaking your entire identity. Blake feels him pulling away, and instead of handling it calmly, she doubles down on appearances. She tries harder to show togetherness. Posts more couple photos, makes more sugary statements. But when energy doesn't match, the mismatch becomes louder than words. People could see Ryan was checked out. People could see Blake was panicking. People could see the whole facade wobbling. Then there's Lashari again, not even doing anything loud, not even trying to be dramatic, just existing, just being the part of the truth Blake wanted to bury. That alone makes the entire Hollywood machine unstable. Blake's team tries to push out articles again calling him irrelevant, trying to frame him as unimportant, trying to paint him as attention-seeking, but every attempt fails because people already saw through the PR tricks. They know when someone is lying. They know when the narrative is too shiny to be real. They know when something is being hidden. That's the whole downfall. Once the lie cracks, no amount of PR glue can fix it. More journalists start poking around. Quietly at first, then boldly. Asking questions her team hates, digging into timelines, pulling out emails, finding inconsistencies. And once journalists get curious, the entire Hollywood PR structure starts shaking. Blake's team starts panicking again. They push out another round of Blake and Ryan stronger than ever stories. But now those stories get clowned immediately. Comments are brutal. Fans write long breakdowns exposing contradictions. Random people on Twitter act like detectives. Everyone sees the pattern. Every time something bad happens, Blake pushes some sweet couple moment. It becomes predictable. And predictability is death for celebrities who rely on illusion. The worst moment hits when paparazzi catch Blake and Ryan outside some event and they look miserable. No smiles. No worms. No connection. They look like two co-workers forced to stand together for a company photo. The video goes viral instantly. People slow it down, zoom in, analyze their body language. Some say Ryan looks angry. Some say Blake looks scared. Some say they had a fight before stepping out. But whatever it wasn't love. It wasn't romance. It wasn't even friendship. It was cold. That coldness spreads online like wildfire. Suddenly every article, every post, every video, every discussion mentions the cracks. People start saying maybe Blake's fairy tale image was just a costume. Maybe Ryan's chill husband act was just a stage role. Maybe the truth was uglier than anyone knew. And that's when Blake's PR team does something even more desperate. They push out a weirdly emotional article about Blake being a strong woman dealing with pressure. But even that feels manipulative. Even that feels like they're trying too hard to flip the narrative again. The public isn't buying it anymore. And through all this, Lashari's name refuses to die. Keeps showing up in conversations. Keeps appearing in discussions. Keeps haunting Blake's entire narrative. She tried to erase him, but he became the center of gravity she couldn't escape. That's the thing about truth. It clings, it sticks, it lingers. And Blake, who spent years building this perfect image, suddenly finds herself standing in the middle of a collapsing stage with only broken props to hide behind. In the crumbling illusion, with Blake and Ryan's relationship hanging by a thread, the PR machine exhausted, the public tired of sugary lies, journalists sniffing too close, and Lashari still standing as the quiet, unmovable reminder that truth doesn't care about celebrity status.